Oh, you guys thought I was done with the tier lists? No, we are back and ready to keep moving on with more positions, more controversy, more heat in the comment section. Today, we're going to be talking about first baseman in baseball. So as you guys know, with tier lists, it's very simple. S tier is the elite. That's the cream of the crop down there. And F, that's not very good. You guys didn't see that, so F, not very good. You want to be S tier. A is like all-star caliber, B is a really good player, C is average, D is below average, F, failure. We've been doing draft content the last couple days, but I got some more stuff planned this weekend. It's just I wanted to get back to the tier list because that's really the best stuff. As always, I want you guys to get involved in these videos down in the comment section below. So, if you have a different opinion, or if you agree with me, or if you just want to talk baseball, you know what to do. Get in the comment section down below. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this tier list. Remember to leave a like on this video if you did enjoy it. That's the best way to show your support on the channel. Subscribe if you're new and you enjoy the content. If you love baseball, this is the channel you need to be sub to, so click that subscribe button. Make sure you join the team. As always, make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at GiraffeNeckMarc. Links in the description. And remember to check out today's sponsor, SeatGeek. If you want to save $20 off your first purchase on any sports tickets, concerts, whatever you need, head on over to SeatGeek.com or download the app on your phone. Use the code Giraffe at checkout and it'll save you $20. So, now to the tier list. We've got C.J. Cron, Minnesota Twins first baseman, having a career season, arguably an all-star in the American League. If it was solely based off this year, I'm probably putting him in the A tier, because like I said, that's all-star level. But based on what we've seen in the past, I think he's more of like a B plus, A minus guy, so I'm going to drop him in B right now. But he very well could move up to A. Yuli Gurriel, a player that I have myself has said is overrated. I don't think he's necessarily a B. He fits well for that Astros team because they have so many great pieces around him. But if he was doing it on his own and really at first base, he just doesn't have enough power for me. So he's probably in that C or D category for me. I'm going to put him in C because he is pretty much an average first baseman. He's not below average, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't think he's one of the better first basemen in the game. Brandon Belt. Brandon Belt's tough because I think if he plays in a different ballpark and not for the San Francisco Giants, he's probably a better first baseman than he gets credit for. I really want to put him in C. I really do. But I think it's probably more fair to put him in that B category, lower end of B, higher end of C, just because, again, like I said, I think if he plays in a different ballpark, he doesn't play in AT&T Park the entire season, he's probably going to be in that B category, so as much as it pains me, he might go down to C, but I think he's probably B level. Ryan O'Hearn, he came up last year for the Royals, was tearing the ball up, but this year, pitchers seem to have found him out. So I'm going to drop O'Hearn in the D category. He's hitting below 200. His power isn't necessarily really there this year, so I don't think I can even put him as an average first baseman right now. It's tough to say because we haven't seen a lot of him, but from what we have seen, he's inconsistent. D. Man, Jesus Aguilar, talk about having a nightmare season. This is a dude who broke out last year, 30 plus home runs, 100 RBIs, had a fantastic year. B or A level if you consider it for just the 2018 season. But this year, he's came back to what you've seen in the past, where he was a player who teams didn't want. He was a journeyman. He was getting cut around. He was getting DFA'd. So I think I have to drop Jesus Aguilar in the C. Honestly, if it was just the 2019 year, he goes in D, but I have to remember what he did the last couple seasons and then kind of include that with this year, and it's not very good. Mitchie Two Bags for the Boston Red Sox. Pretty good defensively over at first base. Obviously, he's going to hit you a ton of doubles, but for me, he's just not the right player. Again, fits well for what the Boston Red Sox need because in that lineup, he doesn't need to carry the team. He doesn't need to do a lot of the heavy lifting. When he gets a double, it's huge. But if he was trying to carry a team on his own, he's just not good enough at first base for me. So I'm going to drop him in the C category because he is pretty good defensively. He does swing the bat for some power, but it's just not good enough in my opinion. So I'm going to put him in C. Jose Abreu, one of the more underrated first basemen in the game. All he does is hit the baseball. Now, defensively, he's really more of a DH in those terms, but the boy can hit the baseball. I don't think he's S tier because you need to be able to do it all to be an S tier. You need to be able to hit and field and do everything. But I think he's definitely A tier. He's one of the better hitting first basemen in the game. He's shown that he can do that over a consistent period of time. And he's probably going to be an all-star maybe for the White Sox. He leads the league in RBIs this year, which I know is circumstantial, but people look at that when they're doing their voting, so I think he's A tier, Jose Abreu. Chris Davis, let's just drag him into F tier. Real simple, Chris Davis is not very good. Now, there'll be some people who say, well, look at his numbers since the slump. Yeah, they're still not very good. They're just better than hitting well. 0. Chris Davis is an F tier. That's just got to be the easiest choice there is on here. Edwin Encarnacion is a really tough one, too. I honestly think I'm dragging him into the A tier. Defensively, again, not great. He's like Jose Abreu. He's more of a DH. But if you look at his numbers from the last like 5 or 6 seasons, this guy's gonna hit 30 homers, 100 RBIs, hit 250, get on base. I mean, Edwin Encarnacion is another one of these players who I think is underrated. He's gonna finish the year with over 400 home runs in his career. He's probably gonna finish with over 500 in his career if he keeps on the path that he's with power. I mean, Edwin Encarnacion's actually kind of really good at first base. definitely a power hitter. I think he's going to be A tier. Luke Voigt, I can't believe I'm going to do this, but I think I'm going to drop Luke Voigt in the A tier as well. I think he's like a little better than CJ Cron. That's where I'd kind of put him right now, is just a little bit better. And if CJ Cron's a B+, that means Luke Voigt's going to be in the A tier for me. This is kind of a shocking one. He was obviously a Cardinal, been traded to the Yankees, and ever since coming there, he's just been tearing the baseball up. So I think I gotta drop Luke Voigt in the A tier. I gotta be fair, and that's kind of where he deserves to be right now. He's really having a great season. I think Rhys Hoskins as well find his way into the A tier. The dude is just absolutely destroying baseballs for the Phillies ever since he came up 2 seasons ago. He had a great year last year. He's continuing on it this year. He gets on base a ton. Bryce Harper being added into that lineup definitely helps him out. Rhys Hoskins is definitely a good ball player. Fielding-wise, he's better at first base than he was in the outfield, so I think he's A tier, and honestly, by the end of the year or by maybe next year, he could probably find his way into S if he continues to just absolutely tear baseballs up. Oh man, Ji-Man Choi. You know, I want to put Ji-Man Choi in S because Ji-Man Choi is elite. But let's be honest here. I gotta be realistic. He's not elite. He's really in between that C and D range. I'm gonna put him in C because he actually does hit for a pretty decent average. Gets on base a little bit here and there. He's had a couple good seasons in the last 2 years. So in the past where he's maybe a DNF player, recently he's probably more around that C range. Justin Smoke, University of South Carolina Gamecock, just like myself. Very good hitter at the plate. Switch hitters, pretty decent at first base. I'm going to drop him in the B tier. While he's not hitting for as high of an average as you want in the past couple seasons, he's still hitting for power. He's still got that switch hit bat. He's driving in runs. He's doing what you want your first baseman to do, which is just basically be that big bat in the lineup that comes up, puts some pressure on some teams. And I think Justin Smoke does that, so I think B tier is where he belongs. Neil Walker for me, while he's having a great year this year, he is hurt, so his numbers have kind of just stagnated. And last year was a little bit rough. He's not really a first baseman. He's honestly a second baseman, but I think he's pretty average there, probably closer to that C- range. He does hit the ball pretty well. He hits for like a 250, 260 average. He's not going to be one of these first basemen where you're like, I need to get Neil Walker on my team to play first base. But in the Marlins situation and just in the grand scheme of things, he's probably right on bang average at first. Justin Bour has been the letdown of the offseason for me. I thought that was a great pickup from the Angels. This is a guy who in the Marlins lineup when they were fully stacked with the offense, Ozuna, Stanton, Yelich, D. Gordon, all those guys, he really benefited. He really played well. And then last year his numbers were down because there was nobody to pitch to. So I thought that the Angels got him and he'd be a nice guy to have around Mike Trout, but his numbers are bad this year. I'm going to have to drop him in the D tier. I still think that he has something left in him. He can definitely hit for some power, but he got sent down to AAA this year and he just hasn't been a very good player. So I can't even call him average right now. He's lucky he's not in the F tier with Chris Davis. Kendrys Morales is now with the New York Yankees. I think he's an average player. I think he's in the C tier. Again, he's really more of a DH kind of player. He'll hit 20 home runs. He's a switch hitter. He does add some versatility to the lineup, but just not that great. Again, it's not someone where you're like, I need Kendrys Morales. That's someone who comes up to the plate, ooh, gotta watch out for him. So I think he's pretty much bang on average. I think Max Muncy is a weird player because he plays first, he plays second, they'll stick him in the outfield sometimes, he could also play third base, I know. He's kind of a utility man who's really a first baseman, but because the Dodgers throw everyone everywhere, he does that, but he's kind of in the A tier for me, I think. Last year, broke out, dominant season, and he's continuing on it in 2019. He's still hitting well, he's still getting on base, he's still smacking the ball around the field. I think Max Muncy is, again, one of the lower A tier, higher B tiers, but if I'm having Luke Voigt and Rhys Hoskins on here, I think I also have to have Max Muncy. He's very good. Ryan Zimmerman hasn't played much this year, was okay last year, had a really rough start. I want to put him in D, but I think, again, he's just kind of average. You're going to see a lot more guys in C because, again, average is like what most people should be like. And I think Ryan Zimmerman is kind of in the same range as all these guys here. He's going to hit for some power. He's not going to be a game-changing type player. He's okay. He's average. Mark Reynolds, for me, is going to go into the F tier. He's not hitting in Colorado. He didn't hit that great last year with the Nationals. He was a good bench bat, but that's honestly kind of what he really should be right now, is a bench player. He shouldn't be a starting first baseman. His numbers aren't great. I'm going to put him in F tier just because he strikes out a ton. He's just... Mark Reynolds, not the player he used to be. He doesn't even really hit for power anymore, so I gotta drop him in the F tier. But we'll switch him with Chris Davis, because Chris Davis is the worst. Miguel Cabrera, this one's gonna pain me, but I gotta drop Miguel Cabrera in the B tier. He's not the player he once was. The power is almost completely gone for him. His OPS plus is below 100, so he's basically an average player. The reason he's in B tier right now is because he still hits for a good average, and he's Miguel Cabrera. What if he does come back? What if the power just all of a sudden comes back? But I think B is probably the right spot for him. He's just not the same anymore. And then with Albert Pujols, you have the complete opposite. This is a guy who still hits for power, but he doesn't hit for average anymore, and he might be the slowest human being on the face of the earth. Oh, where am I dropping Albert Pujols? I think I gotta drop Albert Pujols in C. This is a game where everyone hits for power now. and it just isn't good enough. He's slow. He's way too old. He's just playing to probably get some more milestone numbers. It sucks because I don't want to say Albert Pujols, one of the greatest players of all time, is an average player right now, but that's really what he is. He's honestly probably even D or F, and again, I'm just being nice because he's one of the GOATs. Paul Goldschmidt. Congratulations, Paul. You are the first player to go into the elite tier. Paul Goldschmidt is one of the best first basemen in the game. He can hit. He can run. He has power. He plays Gold Glove first base. He's off to a slow start with the Cardinals, and his numbers are still pretty good. So Paul Goldschmidt, definitely elite. Definitely one of the top 2 first basemen in Major League Baseball. Eric Thames, I'm going to drop Eric Thames in the average category as well. Hits for some crazy power, but he recently just got his starting job back, or is at least playing more because Jesus Aguilar was playing so poorly. And Thames had that super hot start. He kind of is a really streaky hitter, so for the lack of consistency, I have to put him in the C tier. Who is this? Is this Logan Forsythe? Okay, it is Logan Forsythe. Huh. All right, well, I'm going to drop him in the average category. He's not a first baseman. He's not the kind of player that I want at first base. He offers absolutely no power. He's a doubles kind of guy. If I was being really harsh, I'm dropping him in D because, again, not a great first baseman in my opinion, but he's hitting 300. He's actually making an impact in that lineup. So, in the grand scheme of things, he's actually been a pretty solid player this year, but what I need from first base, what he's there for, I just don't like it. Rowdy Tellez. I'm sorry, Blue Jays fans. Right now, he's going to be in that D tier for me. He's just not very good. I know he's young and he has a lot of potential, and I can very well see him being a better player. You're probably trying to get rid of Justin Smoke at some point so he can get more consistent playing time. But right now, over what we've seen the last couple seasons here, I'm just not crazy excited about Rowdy Tellez. He has some pop in his bat, but I need to see more from him. I'm going to put him in the D tier. David Freese. This is such a tough player because he's actually really good in the situations that they use him, but if he's an everyday first baseman, he's just average. That's it. In the spots that he's being used, it works so well. He destroys left-handed pitching. But as a total thing, you need to be able to do it all, and he can't, so he's going to be average. Murphy, finally healthy, coming back from injury from the Rockies. His first base is really the position he belongs. He's not a second baseman. I'm going to drop him in the B category. He's similar to Miguel Cabrera, where he's not going to hit for a lot of power, but he will slap the ball around the field. He's going to get a ton of hits. He's going to drive in runs. I think he's a B player. He's not average. He's definitely above it because he's a great hitter. And he's not horrendous over at first base defensively, so I'll put him in B. Martin Prado. Martin Prado is going to join the F tier. He's not a first baseman. He's not the player he used to be where he would hit for high average. He's pretty terrible right now, Martin Prado, unless he's playing against the Mets, which then he'll play great. But against everyone else, he's bad. F tier. Freddie Freeman, the best first baseman in all of baseball. S tier. Without a doubt, Freddie Freeman is an S tier first baseman. The dude is playing out of his mind again. 15 homers, over 300 batting average. He's just so incredibly good. Fantastic at first base. I don't know what else I can say about Freddie Freeman. As a Met fan who gets to see him play all the time, I hate when he comes to the plate. He's just so incredibly good. Now, you know how with previous players, I've said we have to see what they look like in the past. Josh Bell in the past hasn't looked great, but the difference with Josh Bell, in my opinion, is he's finally broke through that ceiling. Everyone expected him to be a top player. Now, I'm not going to drop him in S tier because that would be a little bit ridiculous, but I think he's really close. I think if he keeps up for the entire year, he's easily going to be an S tier first baseman. Josh Bell is going off this season, arguably a National League MVP candidate if it wasn't for Christian Yelich and Cody Bellinger. Incredible month of May. He's going to be A tier for me. He's really improved. He's finally doing what we expected. People aren't going to like this. Joey Votto, C tier. Joey Votto is an average first baseman now. He doesn't hit for power. He doesn't even hit for average necessarily even more. He's just a guy who looks to kind of walk and hit singles and doubles. That's not the player that we want from Joey Votto. That's not the player you want necessarily at first base. Joey Votto is a shell of the player he once was. He's an average first baseman now. Sorry, Reds fans. You know it's true. Anthony Rizzo. Anthony Rizzo goes into the elite tier for me. He is the number 3, the 3rd best first baseman in the major leagues. Anthony Rizzo is low-key underrated. Some people like to say he's overrated. Cubs fans talk about him like he's great, but I feel like people don't bring his name up sometimes as one of the best first basemen in baseball. He's so good. Carlos Santana is definitely having a career season right now. He's off to a great start. I'm going to drop him in the B tier because I don't think he's necessarily really the power hitter that we're seeing right now. 11 home runs is definitely a great start, but I think he's probably right around that 20 to 25 range. He's pretty good over at first base, but again, when I look at that A tier, those are guys that I really want on my team. They're borderline all-stars, while Santana might be a borderline all-star this year. I don't think that's really the kind of player he is, so I'm going to put him in the B tier. He's still good, though. So Christian Walker has come back down to earth. Another South Carolina Gamecock here. I'm going to drop him in the C tier for average because he's come back down to earth. Incredibly hot start, but we know that he's not that kind of player. He's definitely still a good guy, but he's average. That's really what he is. If he was anything better than that, we would have seen it already. I don't think he can do it for a full season. C tier. My boy Pete Alonso. Now, with Pete Alonso, I love him. He's A tier. You want to know why? Because he's a Met. Yeah, that's right. I'm saying it. I'm using my bias card here. Pete Alonso is so good. He's a rookie this year. He has 20 home runs. He's going to hit for like 250 to 270 average, but he's going to hit almost 40 home runs a year, it looks like. This dude has some silly power. And over at first base, by the way, which was supposed to be a defensive liability over there, he's not nearly as bad as they said. He's honestly probably an average fielding first baseman. I love Pete Alonso. He's completely changed that Mets lineup. Yes, they're not playing well, but if they didn't have him, oh man, I couldn't imagine what their record would be like. Pete Alonso is a very good first baseman. Eric Hosmer. Eric Hosmer is actually coming around this year. He's finally playing like the player the Padres thought they were getting. He's hitting for power. He's hitting for average. He's doing all the little things that made him a great player with the Kansas City Royals, and he's finally doing it with the Padres. So in prior years where he might have been a C-rated guy, he moves up this year because he's hit that next level again. He's back to being an all-star caliber type player for the Padres. B tier. And then there's Yonder Alonso. Yonder Alonso is going to be the final guy. We throw an F tier. Not worse than Chris Davis, though. Slide him right in there. Again, he's not really having a great season. The White Sox seem like they brought him in because they were like, ooh, he's friends with Manny Machado. Maybe we'll get him, but that didn't work. And for what he's been playing, it's been an absolute failure. Hitting under 200. He has 7 home runs, but again, he's not doing anything great for the White Sox. So this is my tier list for first baseman in Major League Baseball. I would love to know what you guys think about it down in the comment section below. Let me know if you agree, disagree, share your opinions. I love to read them, and I love to have a conversation with you. You know I'll argue, but it's all in good fun. Remember to leave a like on the video if you did enjoy it. That's the best way to show your support for the channel. Subscribe if you're new and you enjoy the content. If you love baseball, this is the place to be. Make sure you hit that sub button. Remember to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at GiraffeNeckMarc. Links in the description. And as always, head on over to SeatGeek. Use my code Giraffe at checkout to save yourself $20 off your first purchase. And we're going to wrap the video up there. YouTube recommends you watch this video right here, as well as this is my most recent upload. So click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you guys for the amazing support recently, and I'll see you all tomorrow for another video. Bye.